The story begins with Larisa. Larisa used to travel by airplane almost every day. But there was one habit she never followed. She never wore her seat belt. Strangely enough, that very habit would one day save her life. That day, Larisa was resting her head on her boyfriend Vladia's shoulder, fast asleep. Suddenly, a fighter jet roared past at terrifying speed, and within seconds, it smashed straight into the passenger plane. The aircraft exploded mid-air, ripping a massive hole in the cabin. At that extreme altitude, a violent rush of air tore through the plane. Flight attendants and several passengers were sucked out instantly. Because Larisa wasn't wearing her seat belt, she was thrown violently around the cabin, crashing into seats and walls. Just as the airflow was about to pull her out of the aircraft, Vladia grabbed her hand in time. But the force was too strong. He couldn't hold on. His grip slipped. By sheer luck, Larisa managed to grab a nearby seat and stopped herself from being dragged outside. Vladia wasn't that fortunate. The plane split into two pieces and he was torn away into the sky. Moments later, Larisa's section of the aircraft began falling rapidly toward the ground. That's when she remembered the seat belt. With shaking hands, she strapped herself in. Now everything depended on fate. She could only hope that the belt would hold. The ground rushed closer. Her falling speed had slowed slightly. Then impact. No one expected survival. But miraculously, Larisa lived. When she opened her eyes, she found herself lying in the middle of a jungle. She had survived, but a sharp piece of metal had pierced straight through her leg. Thankfully, it missed a major artery. She tried to pull it out, but it was deeply lodged. Even the slightest movement sent waves of unbearable pain through her body. She knew she had no choice. Gathering every ounce of courage, she pulled with all her strength. Slowly, painfully, the metal came out. Her scream echoed through the forest. She sat there for a long time, catching her breath. Then she tore a piece of her skirt and tied it tightly around the wound. Somehow, she stood up and began shouting Vladia's name. Nearby, she noticed what looked like another passenger lying still. For a moment, hope filled her heart, until she saw the lifeless body. The sight almost made her faint. She collapsed to the ground and eventually lost consciousness. Much later, a mosquito bite woke her up. That's when she heard it, the loud sound of a helicopter. It was a government rescue team. Larisa quickly pulled the scarf from the dead man's neck and ran toward the sound, ignoring the pain in her injured leg. She waved the scarf wildly and screamed for help. The helicopter flew right over her. Thankfully, one of the pilots noticed her, but the officer beside him dismissed it, saying, "No one can survive a fall from 5,000 meters. That's probably just a camp worker waving." Larisa watched her only chance drift away before her eyes. Elsewhere, rescue teams on the ground searched tirelessly, but all they found were bodies. No survivors. The helicopter pilot couldn't shake the feeling that the person he saw wasn't waving, she was asking for help. He convinced the team to search again. They all had families of their own. As long as even a tiny hope existed, they refused to give up. Back home, when Larisa's mother Raisa heard the news, she rushed to the airport in tears. But the staff strangely told her it was a road accident. Raisa knew that was impossible. Her daughter had been flying. Why were they lying? What were they hiding? In the jungle, Larisa refused to give up. Her heart kept telling her to find the front section of the plane. Vladia might still be alive. Despite the pain, she moved forward. Suddenly, leaves crunched beneath her feet. A cheetah turned toward her. Drawn by the smell of blood, it looked starved and dangerous. Larisa slowly backed away, her heart pounding. Then crack! A dry branch snapped beneath her foot. That sound was enough. The cheetah charged. Just when death seemed certain, the helicopter returned. The roaring engine scared the cheetah away. Once again, Larisa escaped death, but the helicopter passed without seeing her. Exhausted, injured and desperate, she continued on. Her throat burned with thirst. She pulled out her cigarette pack, hoping one puff might calm her nerves. But it was soaked and useless. She laughed bitterly. Even smoking now felt like a luxury for the rich. Then she noticed the dry branch in her hand. Suddenly, a memory clicked. The plane was flying. Vladia was in the front section. Nearby, she found a small broken toy compass. From it fell a thin silver needle. At the river, she placed the needle on a leaf and used the water's movement to determine direction. Now she knew where to go. She filled some water, changed into clothes taken from a deceased passenger, and even cut her high heels into makeshift sandals. Her feet bled, but she kept moving. Broken trees ahead gave her hope. Something heavy had fallen there. But then the ground swallowed her. She stepped into a muddy swamp and began sinking. Panic took over. The mud reached her waist. Just when she thought it was over, she saw a thin tree. She grabbed it with everything she had and pulled herself free. Climbing a hill, she slipped and tumbled back down, hitting rocks along the way. Somehow, she survived again. When she finally climbed up, the cheetah was there. Again. No helicopter this time. She ran. The cheetah chased her relentlessly. Just as it nearly caught her, she slipped and fell into a deep pit, losing consciousness. When she woke up, she hid behind a rock as the cheetah prowled above, missing her by seconds. Later, she found a lighter. She smiled for the first time in days. Nearby, she found a food can. Strength slowly returned. Meanwhile, officials uncovered the truth. The military never warned the passenger plane about the fighter jet mission. Exposing this would cause national outrage. So they buried the truth. After countless struggles, Larisa finally reached the front section of the plane. Blood was everywhere. She searched desperately and found a signal flare gun. She fired one shot, but no one saw it. Cold weather set in. Her lighter failed. She wrapped herself in plastic and drifted into sleep. Both families arrived at the crash zone, but the military blocked all access. Vladia's mother Galina broke through a checkpoint in desperation and demanded answers. Her pain moved even hardened officers. Later, an official mentioned seeing a woman waving days earlier. Immediately, helicopters were sent back. In the forest, Larisa found Vladia's bag. Inside was her photo, the one he always carried. She cried silently and moved on. Then she saw him. She jumped into the ravine, ran toward him, only to realize the truth. Vladia was gone. She collapsed, screaming, crying, breaking. After a long moment, she whispered goodbye and climbed out, fighting for her life one last time. A rescuer found the trace of her earlier flare. They called her name. With her last strength, Larisa fired the final signal flare. 3 days after cheating death again and again, Larisa was rescued. This is a true story. On August 24, 1981, a Soviet passenger plane collided mid-air with a military jet. Everyone died except one woman, Larisa. The truth was hidden for years. Later, compensation was given. Life moved on. She married. She had children. But whenever she speaks of that day, her eyes fill with tears because her first love, Vladia, stayed behind in the sky forever. And this story teaches us one thing. Life gives you only two choices: give up or fight like Larisa. Stay safe and always wear your seatbelt.